Welcome to Infinity Dental Implants from Ace Surgical. Quality, compatible implants. Unbeatable value. This video will walk you through surgical preparation, placement, and healing protocols for 4.8mm regular platform Infinity OCTAGON bone level dental implants. We will begin with the implant site preparation and placement protocol. Step 1. Determining tissue depth. Prior to drilling, use a tissue probe to determine soft tissue depth. Step 2. Preparing the surgical site. Now that you have determined the accurate tissue depth, be sure to follow your current surgical protocol for making a mesiodistal incision along the buccal side of the alveolar crest through the mucoperiosteum and attached gingiva to the bone using a surgical blade. Reflect the flap. Understanding the OCTAGON implant drilling sequence and color indicators. To meet the demands of various surgical protocols, the Infinity OCTAGON surgical kit includes the specific diameter and length drills in both short and long, bone taps, profile drills, and implant drivers. You will need the following instruments for drilling a 4.8mm diameter osteotomy. First, choose the 2.2mm diameter round drill from location A, marked in black on the surgical tray. Second, choose the 2.2mm diameter twist drill from location B, marked in black on the surgical tray. Choose the 2mm 3mm paralleling pin. 4 paralleling pins have been included in your Infinity OCTAGON surgical kit. When drilling for any OCTAGON implant, the 2.2mm diameter twist drill from location B in your surgical kit will be used twice, once before checking alignment and again after checking alignment. We will review these details in just a moment. Fourth, choose either the short or long 2.8mm diameter twist drill from column C, marked in yellow on the surgical tray. Fifth, choose the 2mm depth gauge. This depth gauge can be found in the top right area of the surgical tray, marked in yellow. Sixth, choose either the short or long 3.5mm diameter twist drill from column D, marked in red on the surgical tray. Seventh, choose either the short or long 4.2mm diameter twist drill from column E, marked in green on the surgical tray. Eighth, choose the 3mm diameter depth gauge. This depth gauge can be found in the top right area of the surgical tray, marked red and green. Ninth, choose the 4.8mm diameter bone level profile drill from column E, marked in green on the surgical tray. 10th, when drilling for 4.8mm regular platform bone level implants in dense bone, choose the 4.8mm diameter bone level bone tap from column E, marked in green on the surgical tray. This drill is optional and only used when drilling in dense bone. 11th, choose an implant driver from the bottom right area of the surgical kit. The surgical kit includes both short and long contra-angle delivery drivers and ratchet implant delivery drivers. Step 3. Marking the implant site. Use the 2.2mm diameter round burr with a motor speed between 800 and 1200 RPM and copious irrigation. Mark the initial osteotomy. Step 4. Drilling the pilot hole. Before drilling the pilot hole, identify the laser markings on the 2.2mm twist drill. Moving upward from the tip end to the latch end of the drill, the depth markings step from 6mm to 8mm to 10mm to 12mm and 14mm. The final depth marking is 16mm. The short OCTAGON twist drills do not include the 14 or 16mm markings. It is important to note the surgical twist drills included within the Infinity OCTAGON surgical kit are approximately half a millimeter longer in apical length than what is indicated by the markings on the drill. Using the 2.2mm twist drill, identify the 6mm laser marking on the drill. With a motor speed between 800 to 1200 RPM and copious irrigation, drill to the 6mm mark. Step 5. Check parallel alignment. Confirm the appropriate drill angle using the 2mm end of the paralleling pin. Osteotomy corrections can be made during the following step. Step 6. Using the 2.2mm twist drill, Identify the laser marking matching the length of the implant you will place. With a motor speed between 800 to 1200 RPM and copious irrigation, drill to the appropriate depth. Step 7. Using the 2.8 mm twist drill, identify the laser marking matching the length of the implant you will place. With a motor speed of 600 RPM and copious irrigation, drill to the appropriate depth. Step 8. Check depth. Using the 2 mm diameter depth gauge, confirm that you have drilled to the appropriate drill depth that matches the length of the implant. Step 9. Step 9. Using the 3.5 mm twist drill, identify the laser marking matching the length of the implant you will place. With a motor speed of 500 RPM and copious irrigation, drill to the appropriate depth. Step 10. Using the 4.2 mm twist drill, identify the laser marking matching the length of the implant you will place. With a motor speed of 400 RPM and copious irrigation, drill to the appropriate depth. Step 11. Using the 3 mm depth gauge, confirm the depth of the osteotomy matches the implant length. Step 12. Choose the 4.8 mm bone level profile drill. With copious irrigation and a motor speed of 400 RPM, drill to the score line on the profile drill. Step 13. Bone tapping to implant depth. Choose the 4.8 mm bone level bone tap and the corresponding implant driver tool. Identify the laser marking on the bone tap that matches the implant depth. Tap at a slow speed not to exceed 20 RPM. Cut the threads into the osteotomy to match the implant depth. When tapping to the full length of an implant, please review and consider this chart for bone tapping based on varying bone density. Loading Infinity OCTAGON Bone Level Dental Implants. Step 1. The implant package you have received contains a sterile implant with an implant suspension chamber and a cover screw stored separately just below. Remove the implant blister package from the box. Open the blister package over a sterile field by locating and pulling off the sealed Tyvek lid. With the blister package open, drop the implant vial onto the sterile field. Step 2. Choose from either a short or long contra-angle driver or torque wrench driver. These can be found in the bottom portion of your Infinity OCTAGON surgical kit. Step 3. Loading the implant driver. Engage the driver with the top transfer of the OCTAGON implant extending out of the top of the implant suspension chamber. With simple counterclockwise motion, unscrew to remove the implant. Use caution when removing the implant and moving to the surgical site. Placing the Infinity OCTAGON implant into the osteotomy. Step 1. Implant placement. Insert the implant into the osteotomy using a slow motor speed of 15 RPM and a maximum insertion torque of 35 Newton-centimeters. Step 2. Seating the OCTAGON implant. Drive the implant until it is fully seated and flush with the crest of the bone ridge. If the implant does not seat at 35 Newton-centimeters, back the implant out of the osteotomy. Place the implant back into the sterile vial and refer to the optional dense bone protocols for the appropriate implant diameter. Step 3. Disengaging the driver. Once properly seated, disengage the hand or contra-angle implant driver tool from the implant by pulling off the tool in a straight upward or downward direction. Step 4. Removing the fixture mount from the implant. Locate the fixture mount holding key with the OCTAGON surgical kit. Use the holding key to engage the hexagon of the fixture mount to keep the implant from loosening. Step 5. Using the ratchet or contra-angle driver tool with the holding key in place, turn the fixture mount screw counterclockwise to release the fixture mount from the top of the implant. Step 6. Disengage the fixture mount from the implant by pulling the driver tool and fixture mount away from the implant site in a straight upward or downward direction. Infinity OCTAGON Single-Stage Healing Preparation. Step 1. Loading the implant healing abutment. Choose one of the 4 OCTAGON screwdrivers included in your surgical kit. You can find them in the bottom left side of the tray. Step 2. Placing the implant healing abutment. Engage the screwdriver with the top of your healing abutment and screw into the top of the implant using the recommended torque of 15 Newton centimeters. Step 3. Closing the tissue around the OCTAGON bone-level implants. If you are placing an OCTAGON healing abutment, suture the tissue around the healing abutment using standard surgical protocols. Infinity OCTAGON 2-stage healing preparation. Step 1. Loading the implant cover screw. Choose one of the 4 OCTAGON screwdrivers included in your surgical kit. You can find them in the bottom left side of the tray. Step 2. Placing the implant cover screw. Engage the screwdriver with the top of your cover screw and screw into the top of the implant using the recommended torque of 15 Newton centimeters. Step 3. Closing the tissue over the OCTAGON bone-level implants. Using the cover screw included with the OCTAGON implant, you can suture the tissue over the cover screw using standard surgical protocols. Thank you for choosing Infinity OCTAGON dental implants from Ace Surgical. Infinity, always delivering the highest quality compatible implants. Built to excite your referrals, priced to excite your practice. For more information on these and other compatible Infinity dental implants, visit the Infinity website at www.infinitydentalimplantssystems.com or call 800-441-3100.